4 female prison guards, all pregnant, all by the same inmate. One tattooed his name on her neck, another on her wrist. And while they smuggled him drugs, phones, and cash, Tavon "Bulldog" White ran an entire city's drug empire for maximum security. "This is my jail," he bragged on a tapped call. "I make every final call." But here's the twist that'll blow your mind. When it all came crashing down, federal prosecutors didn't just praise him. They patted him on the back and said he made the prison safer. This is the story of the gang commander who seduced an entire prison system and proved the most dangerous inmates aren't trying to escape. They never want to leave. Baltimore City Detention Center. Maximum security. Tavon White arrives awaiting trial for attempted murder. A drug deal gone wrong. Most inmates do time. White saw opportunity. He was 25 years old, charismatic, strategic, a lieutenant in the Black Guerrilla Family, a prison gang that had controlled Baltimore's jail system since 2006. White didn't want to survive prison. He wanted to own it, and he knew exactly how. White's strategy was surgical. Target the guards, not just physically, psychologically. Think about it. These women were working poverty wage jobs in one of America's most dangerous jails. 12-hour shifts, constant threats, inmates yelling degrading things at them daily, going home exhausted to apartments they could barely afford. Then Tavon White walks in, confident, respectful, making them feel seen in a place where they were usually invisible. He made them feel special, chosen, part of something bigger than clocking in and out of a corrections job they hated. Jennifer Owens was first, then Katara Stevenson, then Chania Brooks, then Tiffany Linder. 4 guards, all falling for the same man, all pregnant. And here's where it gets darker. Owens had Tavon tattooed on her neck, Stevenson on her wrist. Permanent marks of loyalty burned into their skin. Think about the psychology of that. Getting your inmate boyfriend's name tattooed on your body while you're supposed to be guarding him. But this wasn't romance. It was recruitment. White bought them Mercedes, BMWs, Acuras, gave Owens a diamond ring, made them feel like queens while turning them into mules. Each gift was another thread in the web. Each act of intimacy, another layer of control. I didn't have to force them, White testified later. I had my children's mothers and plenty of other guards willing to do it for money. The relationships weren't about love. They were infrastructure. Human infrastructure that White built piece by piece until the prison belonged to him. And that's when this stopped being a prison scandal and became a full-scale criminal empire. The smuggling system was simple. Guards hid contraband in their underwear, hair, shoes. Baltimore doesn't require guards to remove footwear during screening. They walked through metal detectors carrying cell phones, oxycodone, marijuana, cash. Co-conspirators waved them through. No questions asked. White gave guards prepaid debit cards. Inmates paid dues through the same cards. Other prisoners were taxed for running their own operations. The profits? Up to $20,000 per month while locked behind bars. But money was just the foundation. With smuggled phones flooding in, White controlled Baltimore streets from his cell. BGF operates regimes, drug shops across the city. From maximum security, White directed dealers, ordered hits, coordinated operations in multiple territories simultaneously. He didn't escape prison. He turned it into his headquarters. FBI Special Agent Stephen Vogt said it plainly. White effectively raised the BGF flag over the Baltimore City Detention Center. The inmates literally took over the asylum. White even instituted a no-stabbing policy among gang members. Violence inside the prison dropped, not because of rehabilitation, because Tavon White was running the place. February 2013. Federal agents and outside corrections officers storm in unannounced. They find caches of drugs in cells, phones by the dozens, evidence of systematic corruption spanning years. April 2013. The indictment drops. 44 people charged, 27 corrections officers, 13 of them female, an entire prison system corrupted from the inside. But the most shocking part wasn't the arrests, it was what happened next. August 2013, Tavon White pleads guilty to federal racketeering. Maximum sentence 20 years. But prosecutors offered something unprecedented, cooperation. White became their star witness, testified against everyone, all 35 defendants who eventually pleaded guilty. The man who declared "I am the law" now worked for the law. February 2015, sentencing day. White received 12 years, running concurrently with his existing attempted murder sentence, meaning no additional time. But what prosecutors said in court was the real shocker. They told the judge White quelled violence by instituting a no-stabbing policy. The man who corrupted an entire prison made it safer, they argued. U.S. District Judge Ellen Hollander agreed. It took a lot of courage to testify. You deserve credit. As White was escorted out, the prosecutor stood and patted him on the back. The architect of systematic prison corruption, who impregnated 4 guards, who made $20,000 monthly from his cell, praised by federal prosecutors, thanked by the FBI. The agents, the marshals, they all like Mr. White, his attorney said. The man who ran a prison was treated better than the guards he corrupted. The 4 guards who bore his children, all convicted, all serving sentences. Jennifer Owens, Katara Stevenson, Chania Brooks, Tiffany Linder. The women who tattooed his name on their bodies now carry his crimes on their records, their careers destroyed, their reputations shattered, their children growing up knowing their mother went to prison for smuggling drugs to their father. And the Black Guerrilla Family? Still the #1 gang problem in Baltimore, still running operations in Maryland prisons. White's arrest didn't dismantle the organization, it barely slowed them down. White's cooperation destroyed his criminal reputation. No gang would take him back. The man who testified against 35 people can never walk freely in Baltimore again. His life as a street operator was over the moment he took the stand, but he beat the system one final time, not by escaping, by becoming too valuable to truly punish. That's the genius of what Tavon White accomplished. He understood that in the criminal justice system, information is currency. Testimony is leverage. And if you know enough secrets about enough people, you can buy your freedom with other people's convictions. This isn't just about one corrupt inmate. It's about a prison system so broken that inmates ran it while guards took orders. What does it mean when prosecutors praise a gang commander who fathered 5 children with 4 guards and ran criminal operations from his cell? When the man who declared "I am the law" gets FBI agents patting him on the back? The uncomfortable truth? The system needed Tavon White more than it needed justice. Without his testimony, 35 convictions would have been impossible. So they made the deal, praised his cooperation, gave him concurrent sentences, made him the hero of his own story. Somewhere in a federal prison right now, Tavon White is serving his time knowing he did something almost impossible. He turned complete corruption into complete cooperation. He transformed absolute power into immunity. 4 prison guards fell for him. An entire jail answered to him. Baltimore streets obeyed him. And in the end, the prosecutors who took him down thanked him for his service. The scariest part? Tavon White didn't break the system. He just showed how it really works. Think about everything we walked through. The women with his name tattooed on their skin. The drugs walking through metal detectors in someone's shoes. The FBI agent patting the architect of all of it on the back. None of that required a jailbreak. No tunnels, no riots, just patience, psychology, and a system that was already hollow on the inside. That's the move most people miss. They focus on the drugs, the money, the pregnancies. But the real weapon White carried into that facility wasn't a phone or a shiv. It was attention. He paid attention to people who were used to being invisible, and in return, they handed him an empire. Now ask yourself, how many institutions run the same way? How many systems depend on underpaid, overlooked people just waiting for someone to make them feel seen? Because White didn't invent that vulnerability. He just found it. It was already there, and it's still there, right now. In facilities across this country, the cameras are on, the guards are doing rounds, the reports are being filed. And somewhere inside those walls, someone is building something. Most of them never become headlines. They just run things, quietly, until they don't need to anymore. And even when it collapses, look how it ended. Not with justice, with concurrent sentencing and a pat on the back. The system needed him more than it needed the truth. If that sits wrong with you, good. Drop it in the comments, subscribe, because this channel exists for exactly these stories, the ones too uncomfortable for the evening news, the truth hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching.